Hey, what's going on people? It's SGZ here from the SpartanGameZone, and in this video I'll be showcasing one of my most powerful builds, Mitosis Moze, fully updated and feature length for 2025. If you missed it, make sure to check out the Grandmaster Zane build posted earlier, but today I'll be showing you how you can deal phenomenal damage as Moze without the need for Iron Bear. I'll be showcasing the skill trees, gear and weapons, and how everything is pieced together to create one of the most powerful builds in the game. So let's start with the skill tree, which you can see on screen now. You'll notice we're not using Iron Bear, we're using Iron Cub, and we give them the grenade launcher with the idea that they blow themselves up so Moze can get some more damage for herself. There's a number of key skills here, falling into 3 categories: survivability, utility, and damage. Most of the skills surrounding survivability are found in the orange tree, and they all focus on keeping our shield intact. That is the main battle of this build, which we'll get to why later, but for the skills, Phalanx Doctrine is a great one, not only helping with survivability, but giving us a little bit of gun damage as well. Thin Red Line is another great one, swapping health for shields, and this gives us a little bit of utility as well, capping our health below 50% at 40%, which allows us to constantly activate new red anointments. Other utility skills include Means of Destruction and Redistribution, which help with grenade regen and ammo regen. There's also Pull the Holy Pin, which allows our grenades to hit criticals, and that synergizes incredibly well with the class mod we'll be using. When it comes to damage though, there are 3 key ones. Those include Fire in the Skag Den, Short Fuse, and Big Surplus. Fire in the Skag Den gets a whopping 31 times Mayhem level damage scaling at Mayhem 10 and 11, and that's the same for Big Surplus. They're both incredible skills with a couple of key differences. Fire in the Skag Den is active all of the time and only affects your area damage, however it scales off action skill damage, which is why we pick up points in Stainless Steel Bear. Big Surplus affects all sources of damage, but is only active when our action skill is on cooldown, which is why we give the Iron Cup the grenade launcher, so hopefully they're constantly on cooldown. Because we want them on cooldown for as long as possible, you'll want to make sure you disable the topped off Guardian rank so our cooldown rate is not increased while our shields are full. The other fantastic skill for Moze that increases your damage is Short Fuse, which has 5.5 times Mayhem scaling on Mayhem 10 or 11. Short Fuse procs more often for high rate of fire weapons or weapons with multiple projectiles, but the damage boost will only be applied to a single projectile. Think of the combination of these skills like this. Short Fuse provides the foundation for heavy damage, whereas Fire in the Skag Den and Big Surplus apply the spice to it. All 3 are incredible and we make the most out of them in this build. Now onto the gear, which is the most important part of this build, so make sure you're paying attention. Where Mitosis is the act of splitting one cell into 2, this build focuses on splitting a projectile into 2, and we've maximized its explosive power for 2025. The key item here is in our shield slot with the Infernal Wish, which you can obtain from Arms Race by farming this chest room. This shield adds an extra projectile to each of our shots as long as there is some charge in it, but it will burn you if you shoot too much. That self-harm effect can be damaging for most Vault Hunters and prevent them from mobbing for long periods. However, thanks to the survivability skills we've picked up that help increase shield health, we won't have a problem with that in this build, so it's all positives. The main thing to understand about the Infernal Wish is that because it's an extra projectile, it's not simply double weapon damage, but double all of your damage. We get an extra Fire in the Skag Den proc, Short Fuse, and Big Surplus, which results in one of the most explosive builds in the entire game. Sit down Iron Bear, you're not needed anymore. Because it's an extra projectile, we want to be using single projectile weapons to get the maximum bonus, and obviously because we're playing Moze, we'll get a lot out of single projectile splash damage weapons, but that's not all you can use in this build, and I'll cover weapon suggestions later in the weapon section. The second most important item in this build is in our class mod slot, and we're going with the Minesweeper. The Minesweeper has a 25% chance to drop a micro grenade on critical hit. The micro grenade will be of the element of the damage that summoned it, and it will also scale off that damage. Because we've got points in Pull the Holy Pin, micro grenades can summon other micro grenades, and they get stronger each time they do so. Whenever this procs, you'll be in for a whirlwind of damage. The Minesweeper also provides an avenue to use non-splash damage weapons while still dealing loads of splash damage through Moze's many splash damage focused skills. And again, I'll touch on some of these weapons a little later. The best skills on this class mod is number 1 redistribution, which boosts our ammo regen, ultimately raising our DPS. And then 4 and fire in the Skag Den. You want to avoid Torg cross promotion, as the added splash radius will harm you more than it will your enemies, especially considering micro grenades do have the tendency to down you if you're not careful. If you are having trouble with survivability in this build, you can always switch over to the Bloodletter, which will help you in that regard. There is enough damage here for you to comfortably make that switch. In the grenade mod slot, the best choice here is the Cloning Maddening Tracker, a purple com best farmed for from the vending machines within the Spend Opticon of the Handsome Jackpot DLC. Why this grenade mod is so good is because of the amount of hits it generates. More hits means more redistribution, means of destruction, and vampire procs, giving us health, ammo, and grenades. Ideally, you want a lower leveled one as it can down you, but that's a natural risk on Moze anyway, so a level 72 one will be fine. Just remember, they are incredibly rare. If you don't feel like grinding for one, then the Hex is a natural choice, ideally a recurring or Mitosis variant. And the best anointment for any grenade mod on Moze is on Grenade Throw. For the artifact slot, you do have a lot of options here, and it mainly depends on your roles. Having an AoE and max size roll on any artifact will generally trump the artifact's main effect itself. So if you have one that has those rolls, go with that. If you're looking for the best of the best though, a Snowdrift Victory Rush is great for helping us get to places quicker, and we also get that bonus move speed and damage after defeating a badass enemy. Your number 1 damage artifact will be the Company Man, with main rolls of damage, crit damage, and fire rate. But that's only if you have mag size as a passive, as you'll want some extra mag size to combat that added fire rate. Other than that, a Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge will still perform well, even though it can't roll AoE. When it comes to that AoE roll though, do remember that when it's placed in slot 2 or 3, you also get a boost to splash radius. And in this build, it can be too much. But Mr. Torg called and said you could handle it, so there's one in the save file for you to play around with. Now to weapons, and I want to start off by saying that this build allows you to use pretty much any gun in the game, and deal crazy damage with it. Moze is already great with splash damage weapons, and we have the Minesweeper class mod, which adds explosion noise to every gun. Across the weapons, the anointment we'll be aiming for is URAD, because it will be active 24/7, and radiation is a fantastic element. If you can't get that, consecutive hits is the next best choice. A bonus tidbit from me is that I like to mob with corrosive, because we've got a lot of radiation and incendiary damage going already. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. Some of my favourite weapons in Mitosis Moze include the Backburner. This gun is a bossing behemoth in this build, able to wipe out the health bar in Hemavoris's final phase in less than 2 seconds. I mean, that fight in this build is simply a walk in the park. The Sandhawk is another great bossing weapon, even though it's not getting the full benefits of the Infernal Wish. It is, however, getting many short fuse and Minesweeper procs, which results in a mountain of micro grenades that'll rip that target to shreds. Because it deals splash damage, we also get a ton of ammo regen, allowing us to mob with it too, which is simply ridiculous. Other weapons great on all fronts include obviously the Plasma Coil, an absolute machine in its own right, as well as the Free Radical, a melee one blaster that'll blast your targets to pieces. This one can come in a ×2 variant, but remember, single projectile is best. Of course, we can't forget about the Plague Bearer in mobbing scenarios. This thing with the 2-for-1 deal is an absolute world eater. All you need to do is fire it once, and all enemies in the entire battlefield will disintegrate. The Boogeyman is another more mobile option that reaps the full benefits of the Infernal Wish. That's just a small list of splash damage weapons, and I'll have a big list of all the guns you can use at the end, but when we're talking non-splash damage weapons, fire rate will get a lot out of Minesweeper. Fitting that mode includes the Torrent, the fastest firing SMG in the game that'll unleash micro grenades like no single projectile weapon could. The Terminal Crit is another weapon that will do work, while providing you with bonus lifesteal, and of course you can use many of the Dahl assault rifles. Here is a list I prepared earlier of a ton of weapons you can try out in this build, and I'll catch you in the next one.